Hey everyone, I'm Brad from Calgary.
This is Sean from Cambridge, Ontario.
I'm Terry from Cornwall, Ontario.
Hey, this is Larry from Pitt Meadows, British Columbia, and you're listening to the Towing Life Podcast.
Welcome to the Towing Life Podcast, where the ditches are deep, the trucks are loaded, but the drivers are not. I'm your host, TowManG, and as usual, I'm joined by my co-host, friend, and former co-worker, the man with very strong opinions himself, Mr. PlainGuy.
What is going on, G? What is going on?
Oh, I'm having a great day. How about you?
It is. It's been a week, as usual, as we talk about. It has been busy time. Winter is here in Canada. Times are crazy in Canada. That's what we're going to get to today, but it has definitely been interesting times and busy times. Before we get talking too much on what's going on in Canada, and we do have a special guest on tap for you guys today, it'd be a good time to mention if you have any subjects, questions, concerns, anything you would like covered on the show or brought to our attention, you can email us at thetowinglife@gmail.com or by searching at the Towing Life Podcast on Facebook. You can also find us at www.towinglife.ca. And you can call us at 249-666-2209. You can go ahead and hit one, leave a message. We'll be sure to play it on the air. All the ways to reach us. And after an episode like this, it is very possible with what's going on social media and in the towing industry, there will be plenty of comments to come in.
You can also just write a comment in the comment section down below. While you're down there, you might as well hit the like button if you liked it. If you didn't, there's a downvote button down there too.
Absolutely. I always forget the YouTube side. G is in charge of the YouTube. I am not, so I tend to always forget it. So guys, quick thing on what's going on. Over the past couple weeks, we as Canadians have seen some unprecedented times. This Freedom Convoy, which at time of recording now, I believe is in its 16th day, stationed up in Ottawa. The protests are starting to spread everywhere. We're seeing blockages at borders in Alberta. We're seeing some in Ontario, down at the Windsor border. We're seeing them all over. I know you guys have heard us talk a ton over the past couple episodes about the Freedom Convoy and about the protests. And we're here today to get a message out. There was a video that surfaced recently online on Facebook. If you haven't seen it, thank God. If you have seen it, this is the dangers of social media. The video was two trucks being impounded by Ottawa Metro Towing. Supposedly impounded, I should say, by Ottawa Metro Towing. They were up on flatbeds, guys going around banging on these empty slip tanks. It's a 2-minute video with zero context, right? Saying that this is what happened. Well, from that, the backlash over social media has been unreal. We have seen threats going on. I've been following the comment sections of this company. It has been unreal. So today what we have done is we have brought on Dave Parent. I wanted to say it the French way. Dave Parent of Ottawa Metro Towing. We are going to bring Dave on right now to give a chance for Metro to clear their name, give an understanding on what actually happened that day, and to clear the air, guys. Everything you see on social media isn't gospel. Right? Everything you see isn't always what it is. So on behalf of ourselves, we want to welcome Dave from Ottawa Metro Towing. Dave, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hey guys, my pleasure.
So we kind of talked about it, Dave. We gave a little bit of the background on what's going on as you waited in our virtual green room, we'll call it.
Yes. The snacks are great here, by the way, guys.
we did our best. Hey, we watched this happen firsthand. Being people that are interested and involved in the towing industry, this is something that affects all of us. And I think anyone in the industry that's listening to this will be able to respect the spot that you were put in and understand a little bit more on kind of, what's going on. So, Dave, why don't you go ahead and kind of tell us what happened? Give us your side of the story. What happened that night, and the events that led up to it, and the events that have occurred since then.
Okay. Well, as we've been putting out on our not only our Facebook page, but anyone who calls and asks, basically, as you said, the video has very little context because it doesn't show what happened before, leading up to this. It doesn't show what happened afterwards. And I'd like to, with your help, guys, set the record straight. I mean, basically, we were called to an incident nowhere near the red zone, nowhere near the protesters themselves, for two vehicles that were under criminal investigation. I don't know where you can infer anything other than the fact that it was exactly that. We arrived at a property of a closed business in a back parking lot to retrieve these two trucks. Both drivers had been placed under arrest and were in the back of the cruisers at that point. Again, there's nothing there whatsoever indicating that they were part of the convoy or the protesters or anything. So we did our job. We hooked them up as seen in the video. One was already loaded. The other one was in the midst of being loaded. The police continue with their investigation and end up determining that there was no ground for charges or anything else. And they released the two drivers without charges. We did the exact same thing. We released the two trucks. We never charged for attending or loading or anything else. And that's pretty well it in a nutshell, as plain as I can get it. Again, if you look at the video and the shortness of it, it looks bad on us. But if you take it and put it into proper perspective, we did nothing wrong. There's nothing I could say to defend because there's nothing to defend. Once they were released and there wasn't a criminal investigation, it was part of the protest and the rest of that. I mean, hindsight and a crystal ball, great, but doesn't do any good when you got two guys in a parking lot doing their job and hooking up.
Like if you guys have ever worked with the police or being contracted to the police, when they call you for an impound, they don't tell you normally make, model, or what's wrong with it, anything. They just say there's an impound at this location. This is how many trucks we need. And sometimes they'll specify if it needs a bed or not. And half the times it doesn't need a bed when they say it needs a bed. So you take that
precisely.
Yeah.
And with the central dispatch being, done outside the city, they call for a tow. The central dispatch then tows the contract tow, and even, broken telephone, if you will, we get even less information than what we need.
Hell, you can get a call right from the officer and you still wouldn't get all the information you need. Let's be honest.
Exactly. Come down here. I got this vehicle to tow. So you send a 1 ton underground and you get there and it's a 5 ton fully loaded. Yeah. Okay, I don't know in what world this works, but it doesn't work in the real world. So, it happens all the time. And I said, this information we got where 2 people were arrested behind a closed business, and it was under criminal investigation. So I don't understand why we wouldn't send trucks under those circumstances.
Yeah, at no point where you told in that situation, hey, we've got active protesters down here, and no driver like G was mentioning, no driver or operator that gets dispatched out to a police call is going to walk up to him and go, "Excuse me, sir, is he a protester?" Like the drivers are on scene, their job is to load the vehicles. Anything beyond that is above their pay grade. So to first of all, I'm sure verbally assault them on scene. I'm sure they had plenty of stuff hurled at them. Hopefully only verbally.
Yes. For that one there was only verbally. I mean, it was a small crowd that showed up. Didn't take long. But again, it got crazy for no reason. And it said once all the facts were on the table, again, I cannot speak to how the drivers reacted to the police originally, what they said, what they didn't say. I can't speak to that. But what I can speak is once the police did their job, they realized that there was no basis or grounds for charges. They released the drivers without charge, and we released the trucks.
Now, one question I do have: Did you ever actually remove the trucks from the property, or no?
No, one was actually dropped right there, and again, 15 minutes into it, you would have saw it right there. The other one took a little longer to process. If I'm not mistaken, the second driver was almost 4 hours of process. But again, the vehicles didn't go anywhere. Neither one of them made it to our location. Okay. None. They weren't impounded in our yard. They didn't leave.
And you guys didn't even, like I said, any company could easily justify if they were stuck there for hours or even an hour loading, waiting for the investigation, could easily justify some sort of hook fee, some sort of waiting time. But given the circumstances, given everything it was, to release the vehicles without charge, I think goes to show that the company, the big rhetoric we've seen getting out there was, cash ahead of freedom, right? No, if cash was ahead of freedom, whether you were right or wrong in that tow, you would have been writing a bill, but you weren't.
Exactly. And as I said, we never wrote a bill on it because we never charged anything on it. They were both released for free back to the owners, the drivers.
And the problem with this is this video that we have seen that went around. The video went viral, right? The video went absolutely viral. After, I don't know what the timeline was, a day or two, The gentleman who made the video actually put a statement out, removed the video, and put a statement out saying, I never, it was along the lines, and I'm paraphrasing here, that I never had a video or thought I'd have a video that went as explosive as it did. I did not have all the context of the situation on what was going on. I made judgments without information. And at the end of the day, everything wasn't what it seemed. Now, the problem is that never went viral. And that probably never will.
No, the damage is already done. And again, this same gentleman put out a podcast, rather it be long and sometimes confusing. But again, he put out a podcast denouncing the video because he did not have all the facts. He's a truth seeker and never intended for any malice. He wasn't pressured by us. Because we have no way of directly contacting him other than what he sent us, and the police or anything else. So I mean, he said by his own admission that he should have got more details before he went out there. But emotions are high, tempers are hot, and again, by the time he got there, you got two drivers that are in the back of cruisers. You got tow truck there loading the stuff up.
Yeah, and mob mentality starts to take over. Like you said, the passion is high, the emotions are high. These are the dangers that we run into with these kind of situations, right? These are why nobody would want to tow from these regions because, let's put aside all the political behind it and the negative effect it can have on a company. Let's just throw in it right away. Some worker safety, right?
Exactly.
At any point, even if the police were adamant that you attend, it is very easy to say that it is unsafe for my employees to be in that situation. And nobody, again, just like nobody would blame you for saying no, nobody would blame you for that one.
Well, exactly. And I'm glad you brought that up because, an incident that happened literally a couple of days ago on Friday, we had a driver go down to King Edward, which is, within a couple kilometers of the red zone down there, for a tractor trailer. The tractor had broken down. The company wanted us to bring a switch truck. So we brought down a good truck to him, dropped it. The driver pinned to his trailer and left right away because he was being, congratulated for blocking the road. In reality, he was there because of a breakdown and left our driver hanging because he got down there, switched it. Now he's hooking up a disabled unit and things are being hurled at him. He's being called everything under the sun for towing a breakdown. This is how volatile this is.
Now, do you believe that incident was related to the original video? Meaning, Ottawa Metro Towing has been demonized through this video, right? They have been absolutely torn to shred. We have seen the Google reviews. We have heard, I don't know if you can speak firsthand for the phone calls that you're receiving, the emails that you're receiving, everything. Yes. Before we get into the direct effect that had with this King Edward call, what is a day like now at Ottawa Metro with these phone calls? Like, what kind of harassment are you guys receiving?
Well, I mean, start on the darker side. We've had everything from our business to our employees to their families, all threatened with various bodily harms, and even there's been a number of death threats on there. Like anyone who's associated with us has been getting threats whatsoever. My phone started literally Monday morning at 8 o'clock, and I didn't get off it until well into the wee hours from people calling. And that had nothing to do with the messages that were left on my personal page or the company's pages or anything else. I mean, I was getting threats, and all of a sudden I got my personal Facebook profiles up there, my Indeed profiles up there. I'm going, okay, so where do I draw the line on taking this as a credible threat and not? For the simple reason is they got this information. How hard do you think it's going to be to turn around and get my personal address? It's not like I'm hiding under a rock someplace. I've been in the same house for 8 years. So it's not like I'm hard to find. But by the same token is, where do you worry? Where do you stop worrying on this? Where do you stop worrying about my fellow employees, the company itself? Some of the things that were said were despicable. They were just like beyond. I don't know how you can allocate us towing 2 pickup trucks. They didn't have farmer plates on them, so how do we know they're farmers? The slip tanks, well, why are we checking the slip tanks in the back whether they're empty or loaded? Because we're not there for that. We're there for towing two vehicles under criminal investigation. And again, it actually cost our switchboard.
Yeah.
You know,
The problem is that we live in a world, and we're starting to see it more and more with, you know, we have all the rights and no responsibilities. Right.
Exactly.
It's a line that my father's told me for years. Everybody's got rights, nobody's got responsibilities. And with a world of social media where we can see a 2-minute clip go viral, and everybody has the right to an opinion and can write as malicious of things they want because they are hiding behind the internet or behind a cell phone or behind whatever means they want to communicate with you, they feel invincible and they feel that they can throw whatever they want to throw at you. And you're expected to just sit there and take it because as a company, the last thing you want to do is respond because, you know, you can't fight back. If you fight back, they're just going to, you know, it's going to continue and it's going to get worse and it's going to, you know, so what do you do?
At that point there, you're basically fanning the flames. You can't respond. The only thing I could do is put out exactly the message I put out, giving as many details and facts, you know, privacy included, but I mean, all three parties, the gentleman who put the video up originally and the two drivers have made statements online. Unfortunately, we can't post anything to the convoy down there for a reason. Everything's being monitored, screened, and otherwise. So you can't put it on there. But again, our site, our Cornwall site, everything else has been the same message we've been putting out, you know. And I have to admit, I have probably a couple hundred people who've contacted me directly. I explain the situation. I show them the facts. As I said, you know, I show them that we were part and supported the protest coming in because we are supporters of it, not only because it's our livelihood with the trucks, but the message that's out there and why they're there. We support 100%. The right to choose is our Canadian right. Yeah. And anyone who takes that away, we have to do something. If you can't do it through regular channels, unfortunately, this is an extreme, but, you know, they've got their attention now. One way or the other, they've got their attention.
It is very unfortunate that you do have to backpedal and apologize to all these people, especially just because of all this misinformation going around. I know we had, there was that video that went viral of the old man getting thrown to the ground by the police officer. As much as I hate to see that, the guy recording instigated that action because he said to the guy, he's like, you don't have to show him nothing. But if anyone's watching or listening to this, if you are behind the wheel of a motorized vehicle and you get put into a traffic stop by an officer, you have to show driver's license, insurance, and ownership for that vehicle you are driving. If you're just walking down the side of the road, that's a different story. But if you are in control of a motorized vehicle, you have to show that identification.
And if you put up a fight, these are the consequences that are going to happen, right? We talked about that.
Exactly.
There is, you know, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. I am just like yourself. I am all for the right to choose, and I am all for the right to protest, right? I don't come out and put out my opinion on this convoy because as for this show, we stay fairly neutral, but I do agree with the right to be able to, you know, protest. But at the same time, there is a line that has to always be drawn somewhere. And there is always going to be people that are going to cross that line, and there's always going to be consequences, and you really hope you're on the right side of it whenever it happens.
Exactly. You know, like when you have members of the motoring public who park their vehicles up on sidewalks, blocking emergency entrances and you know, even the War Memorial parking up there. I can't say I have, you know, some of my children in the armed forces and that, and to do something like that so disrespectful. You know what? If you parked it literally 3 feet over on the roadway, you would have been left alone. But you park there. I mean, you know, we have a video of one guy dancing on it. I mean, like, where does that make sense? You know, like I have civil rights as well as they do, and you know, fair and be protected is there.
Yeah, if you want to be protected, every side gets to be protected.
Exactly.
Let me ask you, Dave, has anyone reached out to yourself or Ottawa Metro Towing from the Convoy organization to offer any sort of, you know, help or assistance with this kind of thing? Is that something that's happened? No. Has anyone reached out from that side?
No, we've tried contacting a couple times and everything has been either shut down or rebuffed. To the best of my knowledge, no one from the convoy has contacted the office. They definitely haven't contacted me personally in regards to this. which is I'm slightly disappointed, but unfortunately, the position they're in is trying to get the message out as much as they can, their message.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there's people that are going to pay that price, and we just so happen to be one of them at this point.
Yeah, and you're not alone in this either. There's
No, I mean,
gentleman who
I've
had to tow the cook house out of the spot.
exactly. I mean, he's a friend of the company. We all know him well. And he went down there and at the organizer's request to pick this cookhouse and move it, and he did. Unfortunately, the details why he was redirected to another location, that's something that he would have to address. But the bottom line is he was redirected to another encampment for the protesters to drop it, and he's not only vilified on it, but I haven't heard of any support whatsoever from the convoy who asked him to do this to begin with, to reach out to him and help him out in any which way, shape, or form. And unfortunately, he's a one-man operation.
And what's ironic about that one, I did read the article on that. There was an article out in the Ottawa Sun, and the problem with this one was at first he got all the hate and the blowback from the actual protesters, right, from the Freedom Convoy side of this argument, all the blowback. Then once it was kind of brought forward that he was doing it on behalf of the convoy, then he started to get the blowback from the people that are against it.
Exactly.
And so this poor fellow who's, like I said, a one-man operation is getting it from both sides. And that's the problem we're seeing right now, is that there is no happy medium. You don't want to get involved and you don't want to not get involved, because no matter what side you sit on this, there is going to be a group, and both sides are very large groups, that are going to bury you. I'm hearing companies that are getting emails and phone calls because they're refusing to tow from protest sites, right? And straight harassment that way. So what is the what is the win for a company in this? How do you what do you do to make sure that you are going to be on the right side of any of this? That's the ultimate question I think everyone's looking for right now, and I don't think anyone has the answer to.
You know what? Exactly. I really wish I had an answer to that, for the simple reason, as I said, it's a no-win situation. I got people sending messages we shouldn't be towing anything for the police whatsoever. So let me see. It's a city of 1 million people. They're doing snow removal because it is Canada and it is winter. So they're doing snow removal on streets, and now you're telling me we cannot relocate these vehicles because it's on behalf of the city or it's on behalf of the police. An accident occurs. We're not supposed to tow a vehicle because it was involved in an accident? Like, where do you draw the line here? Where does common sense come into play versus the rhetoric? And at this point here, I don't know what the secret formula is. I have a couple of my kids that are out in Calgary, and what happened down there to a couple of the towing companies, they crossed the line. They did what they wanted to do, and I don't see them staying in business, for the simple reason is they crossed a lot of lines they shouldn't have, and away you go. But the
lines aren't clear in the sand either, right? We are not a political party as an industry. We are not, we are a private industry that at the end of the day has to operate a business.
Exactly. And when you're requested to do something while you're under contract, when you're requested to do something by not only government, but law enforcement, I mean, it's only right that you do within reason, you do. I mean, if it's a lawful request to do something, that is perfectly fine. But again, the crystal ball is not there for every call. No. And then when you get out there, then you can assess, whether it's right or not. But the bottom line is, as you said, we're an organization, we're a brotherhood of towers that we get vilified every time. I mean, the tow truck wars in Toronto turn around and play right into this. I mean, we're never on the right side of it, no matter what happens. We are always quick to be blamed. Exactly. The last person you want to see is a tow truck driver coming up on your car. But the first time you're in trouble, your car breaks down, you're in an accident, whatever else, that's the first person you want to see coming up to your car.
Yeah. At the end of the day, though, our mandate as towers is not, especially when it comes to police work, and you don't have to comment on it directly, but as police work, we are called to do motor vehicle collisions. We are called to do bylaw parking. We are called to do highway traffic law or Highway Traffic Act enforcement. At no point is it in there that we are to be, breaking up political protests. That isn't part of the mandate as towers. We will tow your car if you've been in an accident. We will tow your car if it is a DUI, if it is a stunt drive, if it was anything that contradicts the Highway Traffic Act, that there is impounds involved for or towing involved for, any sort of bylaw, anything there are laws out there. But as police, you cannot expect to send us into the wolves. We're a private industry. You want to fund it? You want to fund a company? Go send your own government funded. Go send your military in, who I believe have already said no. Go send your heavy wreckers in that tow your OC Transpo buses, which of what I'm hearing, they have the trucks. They don't have anyone to drive them. So I don't know what the point of that one is.
Well, I mean, again, their union came out very strongly against it, saying that none of our membership will step in and drive those trucks. You're right. You, as a city corporation, own that vehicle. Go ahead. The keys are there.
Well, what do the police do? They try to go to the private industry after their own unions have said no. Let's see if the dumb towers down the road will try it. Right? Yeah, that is pretty much what they're doing here. And that's the sad part, is that, you know, we're already represented poorly when it comes to the media. There's very few good stories you hear of coming out of towers. There's always the bad. There's always the, you know, getting impounded, running to scenes, the, you know, the chasing, the high tow bills that have come out over the years. There's all these stories. And then they just, you know, never any of the good. And then they compound it on this. Hey, we can't find tow trucks. Let's see if Joe up the road is willing to do it and throw his business to the wind and try and claim it under, you know, and I don't want to speak to you guys directly, but other cities, I'm hearing it as well. Let's try and claim it under the contract because that's their job. No, our job is to tow as per the contract. Our job is not to clean up the mess that the government made. Whether you agree or disagree with what is going on in Ottawa right now, the government made this mess.
Exactly.
Provincial, federal, you know, I don't think municipal really had much to do with it. It was mainly provincial and federal. It is not the towing industry's job to clean it up. It is the government's job to step up.
At the end of all this, the government will still be the government.
Yes.
A privately owned company
may not exist.
Name dragged down so deep to the point where they can't come back out. And I think we're seeing a lot of this now, where we saw it out in Alberta, where Citywide had a 1-star review just like that, from not even doing anything, not even from a miscommunication or misrepresentation like you guys have had. So what I really want to know is, what's your game plan moving forward? I know a lot of people are saying at this point, you just got to create like a new Facebook account, get a new Google account. What are a couple of steps to get yourself back up to your operating potential and your quality of service that we've all known you for?
Well, we've had a lot of people say exactly that. We should just cancel the Facebook page, start all over again, and do the rest of it. One of the reasons why we haven't done that is because we truly feel we haven't done anything wrong. And once the facts are out, away we go. It's going to take a long time to get all our reviews and everything back up to the level it was before this. But we truly believe in what we're doing. We truly believe in the service that we provide. You know, basically the largest in Ottawa, everyone's going to try and knock you off the pedestal. But when it comes from the avenues, I mean, apparently, according to some people in politics, they called us and we said we all had COVID. We can't go do it because we have COVID.
I've heard multiple companies say that.
Exactly, but unfortunately, that's not the case. Is we can't go do something if they're doing their protest peacefully. If they're abiding by the law in that regards, there's no reason for us to be there. Just because you want to push your agenda doesn't mean that we're going to go along with your agenda.
Yeah,
as you said,
we put our lives on the line. We put our lives on the line every day doing towing. Why are you risking your company's name for some petty stuff in that moment?
Exactly. And as I said, the prime example, my driver on Friday, I mean, he goes down there. That wasn't called for. I mean, literally not that long ago, we just buried one of our own being hit on the side of the road.
Yep.
You know, not getting the protection that he needed. Because again, it's sad all the way around. I mean, I've been doing this for some 38 years now. Yeah, I'm old. I know. Yeah, the gray hair goes with it. You know, I look good for 21. I swear. You know, but, as you could see, you know, I'm very passionate about it. It's something that gets in your blood. It's a brotherhood. I mean, I got people I know all over the world, different organizations I belong to. That again, I'm known all over the world. Not to say that I'm popular, but unknown.
Being known and being popular are two different things.
Okay, so we're on the same page with this because in all reality, that's just the way of life. But it's a profession that I wouldn't want to give up for anything. But by the same token, being forced, it's almost like the mandate. You're being forced to do something you don't want to do. So we're being put into a position where we're forced to have to pick a side. How is that fair for us or anybody for that matter?
That's the problem.
Any company.
Most companies have the opportunity. Most companies have the opportunity to stay neutral and not pick a side. You guys are truly being forced into picking a side. There is no choice.
Exactly.
There is no choice in this situation. No matter what side you pick, you're going to get buried by the other side.
You're getting a lot of backlash from the police force now too, aren't you?
Yep. Oh yeah, big time. We've had a couple incidences. I can't prove, or because I wasn't directly involved. But I've had a couple drivers come up and they go to tow an accident, and unless we're called to the accident, they've been told to leave. Well, why are we being told to leave? Like if it's a police tow, then we're going to do it. But if it's no trucks assigned, why are we being told to leave? Oh, well, you're not supporting us, and we're not going to support you. You can leave.
Yeah. Okay. And that's it. The tensions are high now, right? The tensions are high.
Yeah. I mean, we're the contract tow. So why would you tell us to leave? There's nobody else on scene. Why would you tell us to leave? Oh, because you're not supporting us. Yeah, we are supporting you. But there's also a moral line that you got to turn around and stick on.
Well, that's it.
Again, not speaking directly because the numbers are either overinflated or underinflated, depending on which side you're talking to. But there's quite a number of members of the law enforcement that have basically given in their resignation, taken as many 6 days as they can because they don't want to be involved with this.
No,
they don't want to have to stand there looking their fellow people, their fellow citizens
Canadian.
of Ottawa, their fellow Canadians. They don't want to be sitting there looking them straight in the eye and saying, you have to move along from this peaceful protest. Whether we agree with it or not is irrelevant.
But unfortunately, us as a private industry and us as a private company don't have a say in that. We are, we don't have that say. It's that we are going to stand for what we believe in. And again, that could be pro, that could be against, whatever it is. I respect your choice to either believe in it or not believe in it. But, we don't, we have a business to maintain. And so we have to make choices, and some of them are difficult. And, a lot of companies are really trying to walk that line. How do I want to support the protest, but I don't want to be in the protest because we're seeing the backlash like companies like Ottawa Metro Towing have received. So, unfortunately, you guys at the same time were a learning curve for many companies. And probably, I know companies that will take that incident and have, brought it to their employees' attentions on things to avoid. So in a way, as bad as it's going to sound, thank you for that, because it allows these companies the opportunity to go, okay, let's make sure we double check before we do something. Let's make sure our police force is aware that anything protest related, we want no part in. Let's be proactive in that, because, it was a situation that nobody could have seen ahead of time. The drivers arrived on scene, dealt with what they had to deal with, and the aftermath is the aftermath, right? So it's kind of given awareness to companies. That being said, Dave, if you could speak directly to and we're hoping that they're watching or listening, to the actual Convoy organizers, is there anything that you would want to say to them to help you guys through this, or to reach out to, you know what I mean? Like, how can we help?
Well, again, at this point here, if I was speaking to them directly, I would be telling them they're doing a good job. Okay, I firmly believe they're there for a reason. They're not there because they want to change someone's bubblegum flavor. But the bottom line is, they have to talk to their membership. They have to talk to the people following them. They have to let them know. I know they say treat everyone with respect and love and the rest of it, but when something like this goes, they got to be able to control to some point of it. I mean, free speech given, no problem. But this was not free speech. This was not a two-way conversation. This was strictly a massacre of a good name of a company who's been here for a long time. So if I was speaking to them directly, I'd say, listen, you got to police them better. I know this thing has got a life of its own, but you are the face. You are the one who ultimately got us to this point, and you are the one who's ultimately responsible for this. And I hate to say it, it's been said many times, history will be, the judge of all things. And at this point here, if you're not going to help the guys that are trying to help you, and when I say guys and girls, okay, both
Yeah,
sides
absolutely.
here. But if you're not going to help the ones that are helping you, you know, what are you going to do when you actually do need us?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
You know, I don't want to push my agenda one way or the other. I don't want to push anything. That I just want everybody to understand that. Look at the facts, and if that's what you feel, hey, let's have a conversation. You know, but yeah, you got to look at all the facts involved. You know.
Yeah, and we hope this reaches as many of you guys. Anyone that has seen the video, anyone that is, you know, post those negative reviews. We've seen a lot of people, once the truth gets out, they kind of go around, they fix their reviews. I'm actually looking at you guys on Google. Google hasn't taken too bad of a hit. Thankfully, you guys have really actually are pretty on the positive side. Yeah,
we've come back because we've gotten the message out.
Yep.
As much as we can, but as I said, there's still those fringe organizations. I got a phone call, prime example, from Australia telling me that I'm pond scum, and that's to use of polite terms. And I'm going, okay, but do you need a kangaroo moved or something? Because I don't know how one relates to the other. Like, why are you calling me from Australia to tell me this?
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, because they seen a quick video, they put your name to it, and they went, you know, screw these guys.
Well, there's a lot of passionate people out there that stand behind this. I'll give you a prime example. This was today. I picked up a wreck. The lady drove right into the back of a Sprinter van. So I get there, I start picking up her car, I start sweeping up. She offered to help. She pushed the broom as I shoveled the debris into her car, and we started driving. She started talking about her dad, how he just automatically started driving right to her wreck without her asking. I was like, yeah, that's what dads do. And I told her a story of my dad. I was in Ottawa, and he didn't hear from me all day. So he was about ready to get his boots on and head to Ottawa to try to find me in the city of Ottawa. And
it's a small village, right?
Yeah, it's just a small city, you know?
Yeah.
She was like, oh, were you there for the protest? And I was like, yeah. And I told her what I've done. And she started crying in the backseat of my tow truck. She was thanking me for just going down there and showing my support. And I backed her car into my shop, dropped it down. I said, just let your dad back his car right in. We'll get all your stuff out inside the heated shop. And she turned around. She gave me $80. She's like, give this to the truckers. I want to show my support. I'm a desk jockey. Her words, not mine. And I just have no way of doing this. I was like, lady, this is in my head. I was like, you just got charged with careless. You just creamed into the back of this van. And now the tow truck driver that is going to make a dime off of towing your car, you just tipped me $80 to give to this organization. If that's not passion, I don't know what is. And when people are passionate about something, they will go to God knows when to fight. And it's the problem when that passion gets put in the wrong avenues to punish or to praise the wrong person, where we run into situations like this.
Exactly. I mean, I have literally hundreds, and I call them my little mini army, because I other than the fact that they originally sent me a derogatory message, and I responded and I responded to them in not only kindness, because again, they're emotional. I'm trying to keep a level headed here. It doesn't matter what I've just been called or threatened with. And I reach out to them and I send, the message. This is what will happen. Here's the facts on it. If you still believe that way, then you're entitled to it. But, at least you're now educated with the facts.
Yeah.
And the response I've gotten from these people, I mean, by the end, they're apologizing. I got little hearts. I got all kinds of stuff. And now, as I said, I call my little army, because I don't know these people from Adam. They're all over the world. And all of a sudden somebody puts in a bad comment and they're jumping on them saying, well, look at this. And this is what they posted, and get the facts. And then the rest of it. It's just like,
and they're doing the work for you. They're doing the work. And that is, I think, what's important, and what we're here for today is we want the facts out. Here are the facts. Here's what happened. You still want to have a negative opinion on Ottawa Metro Towing? That is completely your choice.
That's fine.
We're not going to take that away. But please make it an opinion based on the actual facts. And the facts remain: the drivers got called to tow a vehicle. They did not know that it has anything to do with the protest. They were not made aware. It was nowhere near it, right? They hooked up the vehicles. Upon investigation, they found out that, there was nothing, there was no illegal activity going on. The vehicles were released at no charge. And the guys went on their way. So to go out, those are the facts.
Yes.
And so you can make your opinion from there. it's a tough spot, right? It's a tough world. I hate that it's even gotten to this. Like I am, like yourself, Dave, I am very passionate about the industry. I've had a lot of opinions, some good, some bad, and some have gone sideways real fast.
Oh yeah.
But
that's the nature of being emotional about something you truly believe in.
Well, that's it, right? And that is what we are here doing on this show. But, again, guys, the tow guy out there that is, removing this vehicle from, like you said, even if it's parked in a bad spot because of snow removal, the one that's doing these bylaw parkings, these guys are not, and girls are not out there to personally attack you or personally make your day worse. At the end of the day, we have a job to do. We do not want to interfere with the Freedom Convoy. We do not, we support your right to protest. We support, most companies, like I said, either have COVID or fully come out publicly and support what you are doing. They do not want to be involved with it. They are not your enemy. Reach out, have a conversation. If you think that a company near you is doing something negative against reach out to them and talk with them. Get the facts before jumping to judgment. We are so quick with the world of TikTok videos and 30-second clips and everything else. We are so quick to just grab information, run with it, make our own opinion, make our own facts, and sell it as gospel. For the love of God, take a second, get the information.
It's like the main selling point is whenever you're talking to someone who's against the protest, I always tell them, go to Ottawa with a level head. Take a look around, tell me what you see.
Yeah.
Do that and implement that to everything you see. How Facebook has the independent fact checker thing. You see a story, do a little digging. Figure it out. Try to get the full side of the story. That will make your life so much easier, and you'll make yourself feel better, because if you go out and you make a strong stand on this opinion that you got from this 30-second video, and then you get told the facts a day or two later, now you're thinking, well, I just lied to how many people from spreading misinformation myself. So now I'm part of the problem. When you could have did 15, 10 minutes, 5 minutes even of research.
Little background check.
Yeah, background check. I
got shown that video. Guy at work showed it to me, and he goes, "Hey, did you see what Metro did?" And I watched the video. I sat there and I watched the video, and the first thing that popped into my mind was, okay, it's this guy holding the camera's word on what is happening.
And
no, that's it. That's it.
Times he walked behind that truck when it's just been held up by a winch cable. It made me cringe every time. And I wish the operator said something, but in that spot, the operator's not going to say anything because he's got
trying to get it loaded
around and only like 3 offices.
He's working. He's looking out for his safety. No offense, we always are supposed to look out for the safety of our customers, but I mean, with that going on, and I'm sure a small crowd gathering, my safety comes above yours. I am just putting myself in the best situation possible. But it's it, right? And as soon as I seen that video, I remember looking and going like, "Oh, this isn't going to go well." A, this isn't going to go well, and B, I want to hear the story, because you can't trust a guy. And especially we're seeing the videos, both sides of it right now, right? Again, the fear of everything going on, both sides of it are there's videos with no context. Oh, let's look at just the bad stuff, or hey, let's look at just the good stuff. There is two sides to the story, and that is what is important. And that is why we wanted to get your side of the story out. We wanted to get Ottawa Metro Towing side of the story out, because I think it is important. If you guys or girls out there listening, watching on YouTube, don't forget to like and comment. Haven't, seen it or have given a bad opinion on it or have given a bad review, please take the facts that are given here today, head on over, correct your story, and share this out. Let's get the word out, guys, that you guys got caught up in a bad spot. You didn't do anything that anyone else wouldn't have done. Unfortunately, you were just the first. Again, you've raised awareness to all other companies now. And stop the spread of bad information. That's all we're asking for. The towman and towwoman out there is not trying to ruin your day. We have a job to do. Stuff happens. Get your facts. Move on.
And for anyone out there that's still watching this video is not sponsored by Ottawa Metro Towing. This is our own opinions and our own facts. That's why we have Dave here to just shine light. And just being passionate about the industry, we don't want to see one of our brothers fall. We don't want to see a massive company fall like Ottawa Metro Towing, because they've been around. For how many years has Ottawa Metro Towing been around?
Way too many to count. We're well over a quarter of a century, boys. Like, seriously, we've been around for a while.
So if
You
we
know?
see a giant like Ottawa Metro Towing fall to something like this, that's going to be a bad day for the industry. Because
Well,
if someone like that can fall over something so minuscule in the grand scheme of things as this, what does it say for anyone else?
Well, I can tell you right now that they are not going to fall. The message is going to get out there. Companies will survive, and a company is well positioned and publicly out there. You guys, I'm sure, will find a way to bounce back from this, and we will be running down the highway, working on wrecks down the road from each other for a long time to come.
Listen, as soon as you get on a wreck, the jacket comes off, the name is no longer there. We're all brothers, and as I said, I truly appreciate what you guys are doing and in giving me the opportunity and a platform to turn around and again further the message out there so they can get the facts. You guys keep up the good work, and as I said, we ever meet up on a scene of an accident or whatever, said the jacket comes off, gloves go on, and we just get the job done.
Absolutely.
That's what it's all about.
Absolutely. Now, Dave, do you have any last words you want to share before we let you go here and we wrap up this episode today?
I don't know if you can see it or not, but I'm getting a little teary-eyed and choked up, guys. So, seriously, again, I truly appreciate it. All I ask is that everyone get the story, get the facts, call and ask questions. I have no problem answering. My phone rings all the time for everything. So by all means, call, ask. I'll give you a straight shot at what it is.
Absolutely.
Again, we support our brothers. We support what they're doing. And again, if they need help or whatever else, pick up the phone and call. That's what we do. It's unfortunate we're all here, but something has to be done one way or the other. And it just shows how far Canadians, but not only Canadians, if you look at the our brothers to the south and you look around the world, there's protests all over the world because of this, because it has to come to some form of conclusion. You can't keep the whole planet hostage over this and then start mandating things that in all reality, there's no science or anything based behind it. Yes or no? I hate to say it personally. I've had my 3 shots. Not that I wanted to, but again, to be able to go into places, that's what I had to do. That's what I did. By the same token, as I said, you look at the protests around the world. So this is not just an Ottawa thing. This is not just an Ontario thing. This is, countrywide around the planet. So I'm really hoping that everybody, our friends in Australia, right on over to the UK, it doesn't matter where you're from. Just get the facts and make your judgment from there.
Absolutely. And if you guys listening or watching have any comments you want to pass on to Dave, we've got on the video side, we've got all of our contact information running along the bottom, but you could always email us at thetowinglife@gmail.com. Find us at the Towing Life Podcast on Facebook or call us at 249-666-2209. Any messages you have, you want to pass on. If you want to send something directly to Dave, send it over to us. We've got his direct contact. We'll get it passed on to him, guys. Dave, on behalf of both of us at the Towing Life Podcast, we want to thank you for coming on.
It was my pleasure.
Hopefully what we'll do is in a couple months, once everything is leveled back out, we'll kind of do a follow-up, see where we're at, see what we're doing. Until then, I'll probably see you on the highway at one point. We're close enough by that I imagine we'll be seeing each other.
And anytime you want to come up this way for a coffee, just reach out. I'll be more than happy to get you a coffee, brother.
Sounds good, Dave. All right, buddy. Take care.
All right. Thank you both again.
Take care. So as we've seen, guys, and as we've heard, it is a tough time in the industry. The unfortunate story that came out with Ottawa Metro, no one wants to be put in that kind of situation. They are going to bounce back from it. I do have faith. You guys have heard the facts. Fact of the matter is, get your information, get everything you can from it. Don't be quick to judge. Dig a little bit deeper. And that's all I can say from there. G, why don't you take us out today?
From myself, PlainGuy, and Dave, we thank you for watching and listening to this episode. It's always a pleasure to be able to bring content to you guys, and it's always a good time when we can help get the actual facts out there to stop the spread of misinformation. With that said, guys, we will see you next week. We're not going anywhere. Don't cancel us. We'll see you next time. Toodles.
Take care.
the message I was trying to get out to the organizers, as well as the message I'm trying to get out to the other side too. As long as you're peaceful, respectful, and basically non-violent, you're not going to see me sending a truck down there to do anything.